Okay, hello and welcome to Iconic Sports and Events presents Meteora Developers World Padel League, powered by Mesa. And of course, the radio partners are 94.3 Radio 1. I am here with probably the most esteemed guest I could be with, the president of the Indian Padel Federation. We have Sneha Abraham Sehgal. Thank you for giving us your time, firstly.
It's pleasure.
It's honestly my pleasure. And I want to start off by saying thank you for everything that you've done for the sport. I'm an avid player. Like, I started only 5 months ago, but I just love the sport, and I have to give you a lot of credit for everything you've done for the entire movement and the growth in our very own country. The first question I wanted to ask you is, how do you feel about the World Padel League just doing so well? Because I mean, it feels like somewhere your achievement, right, in a way. So how does this make you feel being here, and how successful this year has been? How are you feeling right now?
Yeah, so needless to say, it's like super exciting. And I think that's the vibe here. And
Absolutely.
I was here a few months ago in Feb for the season 2 of WPL.
Okay.
And it's amazing to see that we have season 3 in a few months' time,
Wow.
which just shows the exponential growth of paddle. And for me, this is almost like a dream come true. I keep saying this because when we brought paddle to India in 2016,
Correct.
it was a very different scenario, right?
Absolutely.
People did not know what paddle was.
Yeah.
So it was all about
Yeah.
bringing credibility to the sport,
Definitely.
giving the right optics, the perception to the sport.
Yeah.
So we've had to face a lot of challenges because we were answering questions like, is it tennis? Can we play on a tennis court? And we had calls from people who asked us, how do you play this water sport? Because they thought it's a paddle. So they thought that was 2016.
I'm sorry that.
So we had to face those questions, and then right now we are in the season 3 of WPL.
Yeah.
And I think this is just the tip of the iceberg.
Oh, definitely. I mean, honestly, getting to the Indian crowd, it's difficult. But then once you do, it pays off dividends. And well, the last 3-4 years, it's been the most picked up sport by every single person I know personally. And as someone who's living in South Bombay, I think there's no friend of mine at this point who doesn't play the sport. I wanted to ask you, do you play it? How often do you play it? And like, how is it part of your daily routine?
To be honest, I don't play it as much as I would love to.
Yeah, I'm sure you're busy.
But yes, it is. It's definitely always on my bucket list to play more often. But for me, it's more inspirational to see people pick up the sport, right? People like you who've not heard about it, and you're addicted to it. And and so I think WPL coming to India has been inspiring people across a spectrum. From young people like you to investors to owners of clubs who want to invest in paddle.
Yeah,
so,
that's very true. I mean, honestly, every 2 days I see something or you're coming up. Like, paddle courts are opening by the dozen very often. And again, a thank you to you for all of this. I'm going to move on to my last few questions. So I wanted to ask you, the WPL is bringing international talent here, and that's helping us mingle with our very own domestic talent. It kind of gives our domestic players that belief, that they can play at the top level. So what do you feel is next? What is the next step that we could do in being able to compete with countries that have had paddle for years now?
Absolutely.
It's been there for so long compared to us. Yeah.
So I think the first thing I want to share with you here is in 2019, India took a team to Japan for the Asian Paddle Cup.
Oh, wow.
It's not too many people know about it.
That is.
So that happened then, right?
Yeah.
Of course, that was not a professional tournament, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we were just getting our hands a little dirty in paddle.
Correct.
But now I think what the big shift has happened is with leagues such as WPL coming in, you see kids from tier 2 cities like a Surat, or they watch Koki and they watch Mata, and they're like, they own the sport now.
Yeah.
They know that they can play too. So that's the best thing that WPL has done, to bring world class paddle to Indian soil. And a great thank you to Mahesh and team, because Mahesh being the sportsman himself, and he saw the vision in the sport.
Yeah.
And that's how we are now.
Absolutely. It took so many people with a vision for all of us to be here right now. And yeah, a really big thank you to Mahesh Bhupati as well. And it must be interesting, right, for a tennis player of his stature to see something that is competing with tennis so much now. We all know that people now realize the long-term gain in paddle as compared to tennis. It's something. The beauty of it is it's easy to learn, but very hard to master. That's what I've heard, and I'm trying my best, honestly. But yeah, my last question that I wanted to ask you. Thank you so much for giving me your time. It would be something around how WPL in general, and more importantly, paddle, it's affected the health sector of India. I feel like I said this before as well. It's the best cardio I have ever done in my life, and I'm quite athletic in general. I play a decent amount of sports, but nothing compares to how I feel after a game of paddle. So how do you think we could help maybe the government incorporate and come into the WPL? I don't know, something on your mind that you feel?
So yes, we are doing a lot of work towards that, and more news on that will come from our office for sure, about the government collaboration with Indian Padel Federation. And I think that is going to be another game changer to promote the sport at the grassroots level. As much as this property such as WPL gives the visibility to the sport, we do need support at a grassroots level, and that's where the government support comes in.
Yes.
And to answer your question about the health aspect of it, it's amazing, right? It not just promotes health, it also promotes communities. And I think that's one of the reasons people love the sport, because of the social connections that forms. And that's one of the reasons we brought it to India as well, because when we saw the sport for the first time, 2015.
I can't imagine.
Yeah, it was
like love at first sight.
Yeah, absolutely. And what really was sticky was the fact that there was so much of excitement on the court and off the court.
Wow. Honestly, I feel like, as someone who just played paddle, I'm humbled to be here and speak to you. Thank you so much for your time. It's been an absolute pleasure.
94.3 Radio 1.